Welcome to the MOOC course on Buddhist philosophy for Swayam platform. Friends, today's module is entitled Dharmakirti on Prameya and Pramana. The objectives of this module are to acquaint the student with the ontology and epistemology of Dharmakirti. Dharmakirti, whose period is approximately 600 to 700 of the Common Era, was a central figure not only in the history of Buddhist philosophy, but in the history of Indian philosophy as a whole. His contributions to epistemology, logic and ontology are evident from the works like Nyaya Bindu, Hetu Bindu, Pramana Vartika, Vadanyaya and Santanantara Siddhi. Like epistemology of other Indian philosophical systems, Dharmakirti's epistemology is inalienably linked with his ontology. But unlike many other systems where determination of Prameya, that is object of knowledge, is dependent on Pramana, that is means to knowledge, Dharmakirti regards the determination of Pramanas as dependent on Prameya. He maintains that Pramanas are of two kinds because Prameyas are of two kinds. It will be appropriate therefore to discuss Dharmakirti's ontology first and then turn to his epistemology. So, let us see Dharmakirti's ontology. The basic concept in Dharmakirti's ontology is Swalakshana, that is unique particular. Swalakshanas are the basic particulars that constitute the real world. They are however not bare particulars, that is particulars which do not have any properties, but which could logically have any properties. That is why they are referred to as Swalakshana, self-characterized and not alakshana, uncharacterized. Each particular is self-characterized in that it has unique self-nature, swabhava. Of course, this own nature or swabhava is not distinct from the particular itself. The thing and its swabhava are one and the same. According to Dharmakirti, Swalakshanas exist independently of knowledge. They are the objects of our direct cognition. Dharmakirti refers to this type of cognition as sensation type of cognition or alochana jnana or perception, pratyaksha. So, Swalakshanas are like sense data in that they are directly given in sensation. But while there cannot be unsensed sense data, there can be unsensed Swalakshanas. It is more appropriate therefore to compare Swalakshanas with what is called sensibilia rather than with sensa or sense data. Though a Swalakshana can remain unsensed, it cannot remain idle. It must always have some function or the other. In fact, according to Dharmakirti, to be real is to be functional, that is arthakriyakari. A thing without a concrete function, that is arthakriya, is nothing. It is, according to Dharmakirti, like a horn of a hare. This peculiar conception of what is real leads Dharmakirti to his doctrine of momentariness. Since being real means having a function, and since everything which has function must itself change while performing its function, everything real must change. Secondly, if functionality and hence change is the very nature, that is swabhava of the real thing, a real thing cannot remain unchanged even for a moment. So, it must be changing at every moment. And since, according to Dharmakirti, a thing cannot change and still remain the same, a changing thing cannot retain its identity. So, Dharmakirti claims a real thing must lose its identity in the succeeding moment. Dharmakirti develops this kind of argument in the Hetu Bindu. It is interesting to notice that Dharmakirti develops his doctrine of momentariness in terms of Swabhava, that is, own nature, essence. Here Dharmakirti accepts or seems to be accepting a form of Swabhavavada, which can be translated as essentialism, the doctrine of own nature, but accepting Swabhavavada does not lead Dharmakirti to an eternalistic position. Rather, it helps him to develop his non-eternalism. This is possible because Dharmakirti's concept of Sat, that is real, is not that of something static, but rather that of something dynamic. And because Dharmakirti's essentialism is not metaphysical but logical, Dharmakirti attaches great importance, such great importance to Svalakshana that he calls it Paramartha Sat, real in the ultimate sense. In this context, by Paramartha Sat, he does not mean a transcendent reality or something which transcends the realm of experience and mundane practice. The unique particulars are, on the contrary, empirical, in that they are directly given in a sensation type of cognition. They are practical, in that each one of them has an arthakriya, a concrete function which is directly relevant to our practical aspirations. When we are thirsty, for example, we need a particular and tangible sample of water and not universal water, waterness, the idea of water and so on. The idea of water does not quench our thirst. So, the idea of water, no matter how vivid and clear it may be, is not real. It is very clear in Dharmakirti's thinking. This also indicates that Dharmakirti was not an idealist, but a realist of a kind. It may be noted here that Dharmakirti uses the word object, that is artha, in at least two senses. One, the object which exists independently of cognition and causes its own cognition, and second meaning is the object which is given as the form, that is akar of the cognition. So, one can say that Dharmakirti's position is realistic with regard to the former, that is object which causes the cognition, and it is idealistic with regard to the latter, that is the form of the cognition. Swalakshanas for Dharmakirti are real objects and universals are unreal objects. In the Hetu Bindu, Dharmakirti mentions these two kinds of objects by referring to Neela Swalakshana, that is a particular blue, and Neela Vikalpasya Vishaya, that is the mentally constructed conceptual blue. What actually quenches our thirst is thus the water particular, but the water particular being unique is not properly represented by the word water, which is common to all water particulars. However, we do call it water. While doing so, we hide its unique nature and identify the thing in terms of some shareable aspect of it. The shareable aspect, that is the universal aspect, is not real in the sense in which the particular is real. But reference to a universal becomes necessary because we cannot understand the particular, nor can we talk about it without reference to a universal. Though what we actually drink is particular water and not universal water, when we go to drink water, we do not do so because it is a unique particular, but because it is water. It is water like the water I drank before, and it will satisfy my present thirst because similar water in the past satisfied the similar thirst the similar I had before. This is the kind of understanding implicit in our going to drink the water particular. In this way, our actual practice with regard to water becomes possible through our understanding, which involves the employment of universals. We face the world of particulars by mapping it on the map of universals, and thus by making it meaningful.